Forget about renewable energy. Crude oil production in the US is forecasted to be up. The Petrochemical Weekly Update starts now. This morning, the Energy Information Administration published the February short-term energy outlook. Despite talks of energy transition, the EIA is forecasting that US crude oil prices will remain high and consequently production will reach record high levels by 2023. Let's take a look at a couple charts included in the report. The first chart shows crude oil production from 2013 through the end of 2021 and forecasted production through the end of 2023. The EIA forecast crude oil production to increase to 12 million barrels per day in 2022, then reaching record high levels in 2023 of 12.6 million barrels per day. They forecast that more than 80% of that crude oil production growth will come from the lower 48 states, which does not include Alaska and the federal offshore Gulf of Mexico. Where is this growth coming from? This chart shows that the EIA is forecasting production gains to be coming mostly from the Permian region. They note that legacy production, or crude oil production from existing wells, which typically declines over time, will be offset by gains at new wells. Crude oil prices have been steadily rising since early 2020. In fact, Brent spot prices reached $97 per barrel just a little over a week ago. That was the highest price not adjusted for inflation since September 17, 2014. Despite the forecast of declining West Texas Intermediate prices in the report, you might be wondering, what does record high crude oil production mean for petrochemicals? If you are, then the Petchem Global Market Intel Advisory, delivered by the Petrochemical Strategies Expert Network, supported by IIR Energy and powered by i2 Enabled, can help. If you have questions and want answers, ask me. You can reach out to me directly through my website, petrochemicalstrategies.com, or to the IIR Energy team by email at iirteam@iirenergy.com. Both addresses are shown on your screen. Let's take a look at global petrochemical capacity developments over the past week and what we expect to see in the coming week. I'm using the Petchem Global Market Intel Start of Day dashboard to look at global capacity developments in millions of pounds of cracker products per day. Last week, we saw available capacity increases at 8 petrochemical plants in Asia. The largest changes at Kaohsiung Linyao Petrochemicals in southern Taiwan and Mapta Phut Petrochemicals in Thailand. By the end of this week, we see big changes in Asia with several large outages offset by only a handful of restarts. In Europe, the big change is coming from reduced available capacity at the Plock complex in Poland. In the Americas, ExxonMobil is expected to start its turnaround at the Baytown facility, which was originally scheduled for January. Also contributing to the change in the United States is the outage at the Dow Oyster Creek Chemical Complex in Freeport, Texas. Let's turn now to the week's headlines. PBF Energy Incorporated is keeping its eye on renewable diesel as a ticket to a prosperous future in the refining industry. North American refineries have lost more than 1 million barrels of production since early 2020 due to plant closures amid the COVID-19 pandemic. But now that lockdowns are largely a thing of the past, PBF is struggling to meet a sharp revival in demand for gasoline products while converting much of its existing capacity to renewable diesel production. Industrial Info is tracking more than $1 billion worth of active projects from PBF, nearly half of which is attributed to proposed unit conversions to renewable diesel. India is seeing roughly $37 billion worth in active projects in its petrochemical and agrochemical sectors, which amounts to more than 77% of the nation's total projected spending in the chemical processing industry. India is the 4th largest producer of agrochemicals globally and is experiencing an especially strong surge in demand in these sectors. And finally in the news. The UK ordered the closure of its only 2 shale natural gas wells, marking the end of an experiment spanning nearly a decade. The government estimates that it gets about 40% of its energy needs from wind energy and only about 25% from natural gas. Thank you so much for watching the Petrochemical Weekly Update. If you have any questions about anything you saw here today, ask me. My name is Robert Sawchuk, and I will see you next time.